Can you tell us about your memories of moving into Trellick Tower?
Well, I've been here for over 25 years, and when I first moved in, it was very different to what it is now. Because now we have concierge, but then it was open house. So because of the size of the building, what happened was, excuse me, many people would walk in and out. So we had this ridiculous situation where people would go on the lift to buy a newspaper, and then somebody would burgle the house, and when they came back, the house had been burgled, and the person that did the burgling would obviously be showing empathy to the person they just burgled. It was a bizarre situation. We had all sorts of nonsense going on. There was a lot of petty crime here, and I had the unfortunate experience of there's a club, is it the Wild Child Club? Anyway, these lunatics who do these most outrageous things. You know, they go to the top of a building, or they will go, I think it's called the Extreme Club or something. Anyway, it's very, very extreme. And anyway, he went to the top of the building. Two of them somehow got to the top of the building. One of them jumped off fine, the other one jumped off, and the parachute never opened. And I seen the corpse on the floor. So fortunately, you know, for the last 20 years or so, they've had concierge there. So what has changed in the building is that it's a much more pleasant place to live, and we have security essentially. That's what's changed. But prior to that, it was like the wild, wild west. People just come in and out and in and out. It wasn't particularly pleasant. And I remember that, because it's a council block, that it was such a notorious place to live that people actually, if you decided to live here, for example, if you was allocated, you could move within a day. Now the process is like 8 weeks in normal, but that's how notorious it was. But since then it's changed dramatically, and it's a lot nicer now. You know? So it's gone from the wild, wild west to being very pleasant.
Could you tell us about your neighbours?
My neighbours? Yeah, that's changed as well. When I first came in here, they were locals, Ladbroke Grove people and people from West London, but now they're more international. So, you know, we have, I don't know, I've never asked them, but obviously you can see the difference in terms of nationalities and that. We have lots of different people. It's kind of it's kind of a melting pot. Initially, when I moved in, because they were all locals, people were kind of, well, yeah, I don't know how he's going, yeah, all that business. But now it's kind of, there's different languages in the lift, you know. A lot of them don't speak English, unless there's a problem. But anyway, so it's a melting pot in here, really. And the people generally keep to themselves. And I don't know why that is, really, because it's a very famous block. I mean, if you walk on the road, virtually every other person walking on the road wants to take a picture. But people that live here, bizarrely, don't want to get involved, you know, so it's somewhat frustrating, really. So people generally keep themselves to themselves, the people that live here now. Whereas initially, the people that were local tended to be, it was more of a community. Now it seems to be, you know, generally people come, and in a general sense, they don't really engage, which I find bizarre. However, I engage with all of them, you know. I say hello to all of them. I try to make that effort. That's it, really.
We talked about the different types of people in this building.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you've picked up on any different cultures?
Well, I haven't picked up on any different cultures because obviously I'm part of the culture, being Nigerian and English. But the cultures that are here tend to stick within the culture. Because, for example, in the 90s, there was the war in Serbia. So I noticed there seems to be loads of Serbians and Croatians and all of that business here, you know. Obviously, the council never phoned me up and told me they were moving in. But they moved in, and they tend to stick with Croatians and Serbians, you know. So the cultures here tend to stick with their own cultures. One or two of them do tend to come out and they engage, but in a general sense, it's very, very narrow, really. That's my perception. Somebody's other perception may be different, but that's my perception.
How do you feel about them now?
Now, when you say, well, what do you mean, how do I feel about them?
In comparison to your views before, when they first came?
Generally speaking, the people in the block are very nice. I was the chair of this building for 4 years, and my major frustration was the lack of involvement from the people that live here. So if you can imagine that I go on a rainy night, unbeknown to them, to get funding for the building, then when you get funding for the building and you're in the lift and people are accosting you because essentially they want to tell you all their problems, it's kind of difficult. And the reason why it's difficult is that's why we have councillors and that's why we have MPs. I realised very shortly after becoming the chair of this particular building that my function was not to solve the problems of everybody in the building. My function was to maintain the block and get funding. And actually that's what I did. So the frustration that I speak about is the fact that you get this stuff and people think it just happens. You know, oh, we got CCTV, absolutely wonderful. Oh, we got this. No. It only happens because people like me and a few other people actually get together to form an association and actually seek out the funding. Because having lived here for the length of time I lived here, until I became chair, I actually thought that the council really liked us, because you know things, we get improvements, oh, they're really nice. No, it doesn't actually work like that. It's not that they're really nice, it's that there's a pot of funding for everyone, and unless you know about the pot of funding, guess what? You get left behind, you don't get it. So, having been the chair for 4 years and having done my little bit for the block, I have got to know people, but there's people with a funny attitude, which essentially is that, oh, you can solve my problem. But as I said earlier, I can't solve anybody's problem, but it would be nice if occasionally you got involved. So, you know, that's been my experience really, you know. And at times, you know, I think we're having this interview, so we have to be candid. I was extremely frustrated at times. However, a lot was achieved, you know.
Could you tell us more about your funding?
Okay, so more about the funding, right? So so as you know, the council is the block is owned by the council, and within the block, about 25% of the people, between 10 and 25%, I would suggest, but I don't know, are leaseholders. So how it works is a leaseholder essentially is a person that buys the flat. I'm a tenant because I rent the flat. So as the place won't fall down, there is funding for upkeep. So there is several pots of funding for different things. For example, I recently, prior to my resignation, vis-a-vis stop being the chair in May, I managed to get CCTV funding. So as you come out the lift, if you look right to the right, the CCTV cameras there. I was able to get it because I identified certain funding pots. So what happens is that there is a thing called ARB, which is the Area Review Board, which essentially is within Kensal Town, there is 6 associations. So there's Trellick, there's the one over the road, there's the one over there, 6 in total. So what happens is the council has X amount of thousands of pounds in a pot per year, which each of those associations can tap into. for example, say £20,000. So any of those associations within the tax year can apply for funding within those parameters of £20,000. The other 5 associations vote as to whether Trellick or the block over the road should in fact get the funding. If nobody objects, or if a majority do not object, then you get the funding. Say we need £5,000 for paint and decorating. So you get the funding based on all the associations within the area agreeing to the funding. There is other funding which is outside of the association, which is kind of more to do with the whole area. Because Kensington and Chelsea is north and south. We're the north. The south is places like the World's End Estate and anyway, the council properties within the southern part of the borough. So because it's the whole borough, there may be, for example, off the top of my head, 200 grand for the whole borough for small projects. In relation to them, they're slightly different to the ARB, which is more localised. With them, you formally make an application before up to 40 people within the block. Within this block, there's like 217 flats. So I don't know how many people here, 600 to 800 people here. So we needed 40 signatures, which implied that a big percentage of the people actually were in favour of the funding, and then you send that off to the TMO, Tenants Management Organisation, and then they look at all the applications. That's how it works.
Can you tell us about the local area when you moved in and now?
Oh, it's changed a lot since now it's very trendy. Now when you go to the local estate agent, they say near Goldbarn Road. However, when I first moved in here, it was as different as night and day, really. For example, I think you know, as you go over the bridge from here to the right, there is new blocks going up. Warrington Green Estate. That was from in older estates, and there was a lot of local families that have kind of moved out. It's an interesting area because in this area we have a large community of Moroccans. We have a large community of Eritreans. When I first moved here, it was more localised, you know, vis-a-vis more indigenous people. But as the years have gone by, it has become a melting pot. But it's good because it's good energy, you know. It's a very good energy. So because of obviously things that have gone on in the world, obviously, and people have had to migrate. Well, a lot of them have moved over here. So it's changed. So now, in terms of an area, it's kind of more international now. So there is more different nationalities that live here than before. Before it used to be very, very, very localised, you know, people born in the area. And there's always kind of, for the last half century or so, apparently, or even more, there's always been a large Moroccan community. They were always here. So that's what it is now, really.
Can you tell us about the things that stayed the same through your 25 years living in this building?
Well, to be honest with you, nothing stayed the same. It's all changed. Everything has changed. The block's changed from the point of view of the people that live here. The investment that's gone in the block. The area has changed from the people that moved into the area. So to be honest, nothing's kind of stayed the same, really. Everything has changed.
Can you tell us why you moved into Trellick Tales?
Why I moved in? Because when I came from Liverpool, what happened was that I was living in Chelsea, and I was living there with other members of my family, and the guy that owned the flat actually wanted us out of the flat. So I, prior to moving into that flat, when we first moved to London from Liverpool, because I've been here since I was a kid, really, we put our name on the council list, and we lost the tenancy of the flat. But because we were good tenants, I went to the council, they said, can you show us the eviction order? I showed them the eviction order, and I was given the flat. That's the reason why I was given. So I was given the flat because I lost my last flat, but I never lost my last flat because of an antisocial tenant. I lost it through circumstances, and that's how I got the flat.
Did the history behind this building affect maybe why you wanted to live here?
No. I never chose. I never chose the flat. What happened was I put my name down with the council, and this is what we was allocated. That's what happened. So I never said I want to live here, there, or any. I didn't even know anything about. In fact, I was in the south. I was in Chelsea. I didn't know anything about Cheltenham.
Are you glad that you moved here?
I'm extremely glad. Yeah, I'm glad. You got Portobello Road. You got Golborne. Yes, I'm extremely glad.
Do you, in any way, miss the place in Chelsea?
No, absolutely not. It's like the mist of time, you know. It was so long ago that no, I don't miss it.
Can you tell us about any community events in or around Trellick Tower?
Any community events? Well, we had a community event last year. It was like just after I think Trellick's been up like 42 years. 41 or 42 years. So we had like a 40th anniversary commemoration, and it was for the kids, essentially. We had that last year, last August, just before the carnival. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there is the Golborne Festival. Have you heard of the Golborne Festival? Late July, early August, there is an organisation within the area that allocates funding. It's called Golborne Love. No, Love Golborne. Love Golborne it's called. Love Golborne. And what they do is they allocate funds for Golborne Road, and they cut off the road, and lots of people who are entertainers, they do entertainment, and they have food stalls. It's kind of a mini carnival. So that's what we have every year.
Can you tell us about how you feel living so close to the Notting Hill Carnival?
Well, when I first moved it was a novelty, but you know, how many times can I hear, feeling hot, you know, I mean to say, man, you know, it's wonderful if I came in and moved out, it'd be fantastic. However, the thing is, the concept of the carnival is wonderful, but I assure you, when this building is vibrating with them people who've just got no idea of, you know, I don't know. When I walk past the speakers and I'm about to have a heart attack, they're there all day doing it, you know. So the idea is wonderful, but for 2 days, after millions of carnivals, all I can simply say is it's, I've had enough. That's all I can say.
Can you tell us about what Trellick Towers means to you?
Well, what does it mean to me? It's a good question. The guy that actually designed, the guy that actually built it was a guy called Goldfinger, and he was a very clever man. He was very clever. Oh, the BBC, better get hair and makeup.
Check the levels. 1, 2, 3, speaking.
Can you tell us about what Trellick Towers means to you?
Trellick Tower means a lot to me. The reason why it means a lot is the fact that the man that designed the building, Goldfinger, he realised that people needed to live in this dwelling. So we actually have a outside space. So you know, when I just want to go out occasionally, I can go on the outside space. And another thing that is wonderful actually is the way the building is situated. The sun goes from east to west. So when I want to improve my tan, I just kind of go out there at 8 o'clock in the morning, come back in at 6 at night, and I've got a tan from east to west. And because it's such the building is very, very strong, so that in a general sense, when the neighbours are arguing with each other, you can't really hear them. So you've got your privacy, and it's just a great place to live, really. It's a wonderful environment.